Hi, Birdie level participants. I'm Coach Tammy Palmer, Program Director of the First Tee of the Golden Isles, and I have with me today Coach Mason Scott. And we're going to be talking about core lesson number 16, and that's dreams and goals, and it's how to get started. Mason, what are some things that you think about when you're setting your goals, and maybe you're writing them down on paper, and you want to, some things that you want to accomplish? What do you think about?
Yeah, I think it's great you brought that up, writing it down. That's probably the first step is writing it down so you have it. It's one thing to think of a goal and say, oh, I want to try to do this, but being able to write it down and looking at it all the time is important, and that's kind of that first step before you even come up with the goal. And then from there, you want to create a goal that's specific to you. So not comparing yourself to other people, but specific to you. For example, if it's a golf related goal and it involves putting, then I'm going to work on my putting stroke. That's a goal, and it's specific to me and not what anybody else is worried about. The next is making sure that goal is measurable and you can track it so that you're able to track your progress and see, hey, am I reaching the steps? Am I following those steps to try to reach that goal, or am I kind of falling off a little bit? So being able to measure that, whether that's keeping track of your score, if your goal is to shoot a certain score, or if it's to try to reduce the number of three putts that you make in a round. It's being able to write that down and having that data to look at to see if you're on track.
I love that you said measurable, and we just talked about this in our par level, finding our personal par, and we talked about, keeping score on while we're playing on the course. Can you explain a little bit more about that? And maybe how you might show some of those statistics on your scorecard? Yeah,
you can break it down. I've seen before, and I've done it, where it's more than just breaking down the total number of strokes you got on the hole. It's being able to go further and say, part of these strokes came from putting, these strokes came from the tee, these strokes came from the fairway, and be able to break that down. The first step I've seen is tracking fairways. So if you're off the tee box and how many fairways you hit during the round, it's important that you're putting yourself in that short grass with a full swing and a clear view at the green can really increase your chances of shooting well. And then next is greens and regulation, which means that you've hit it onto the green and your next shot is a putt for birdie. So if I have a lot of those during the round, I know that I was hitting my irons well, and maybe I was hitting my drives to put myself in that position, and then I know that I was focusing on that. And lastly, you can break down the number of putts you have per hole. That's an important statistic. I can see if, hey, I 3-putt 5 holes today, or I didn't 3-putt at all. So it's being able to track that, and that can help you reach a goal, whether it's a goal to work on your driving, a goal to work on your irons play, or around the greens.
Yeah, so we've got, so you mentioned goals that are specific for us. So meaning they're not anyone else's goals for me, they're my goals for me, right? So specific and measurable, we just discussed. What are some other things you think about?
Yeah, another part of that is setting a goal that's achievable and attainable. It's good to have goals that are a little bit difficult and you have to work towards to reach, but at the end of the day, you don't want to set a goal that is going to be impossible for the time frame that you've set, because then you're just going to get discouraged if you don't reach that goal. Say I just started playing golf, and if I set a goal that I'm going to shoot par, I'm going to shoot 72 the next time I go play, and I've never even played golf before, that's kind of a goal that's not attainable. And then if I go out and play and don't reach that score, then I'm going to get frustrated and say, well, I can't reach that goal. So being able to have something that's attainable. And then I mentioned it too, is being time oriented with the goal and setting a deadline when you want to reach that goal. It could be a short-term goal. It could be just that day, I want to accomplish this today, or it could be a couple of weeks you want to accomplish something, a couple of months, or even a couple of years. So it's being able to put a deadline on when you want to accomplish the goal, or if it's a bigger goal, setting a timeline for certain parts. So say I want to reach part 1 of this goal, step 1, by next week. Have that date written down so I know I have to work towards that, and then I have the next step. And I just keep building on those goals and setting those smaller goals to help me reach potentially a bigger goal.
So you talked about setting an unrealistic goal of shooting par the next time you go play golf when you know your game is not there. But that might be a long-term goal, right? So maybe you want to be shooting par in a few years, right? And then you might want to set more short-term goals in order to reach that, right? So maybe even taking it a step further and really being specific about your practices. So what might goals look like for your practice rounds based on those the measures or the statistics that you're tracking? Like, how would that affect your practice?
Yeah, so I would, after I played, I'd break down where those shots came from and see what I need to work on. Say I only hit one fairway today, then I probably need to work on the type of shot or my driver off the tee to try to get myself in a good position. Or it could be greens in regulation. Maybe I'm not hitting my irons very accurately and I'm missing greens and I'm having to chip a lot. Or it could be even putting. I had a bunch of 3-putts. So breaking that down and seeing where I need to work on can kind of help me structure my practice next time I go out. And so I'm not kind of lost and not sure what to do. I know, hey, last round I didn't putt too well, so I'm going to really focus on putting today so that next time I play I can see if there was any change.
So I like everything that you said. You talked about being specific and having a way to measure it and creating goals that are attainable, for you and where you are. And you also, mentioned the timeline and putting a deadline on those goals. But we talked a lot about as that relates to golf, right? I think that you can take everything that you just said and putting into other areas of our life, like maybe at school. Like, what might be some things that some of our Birdie level participants in the academic area of their lives, like what might that look like, setting goals in that department?
Yeah, that could be a big one that I think of is setting that goal for that next level education, if that's something that you want to pursue, and then that could be playing athletics in that as well, and if that leads you there. So setting that goal, maybe that's working on increasing those grades, getting that up so that you can maybe earn a scholarship, an academic scholarship, if you want to go to a college and continue your education that way. That's one way to do it. Or it can be within school. It doesn't have to be that far ahead. You don't have to think, because sometimes it can be hard to make goals that are that far in advance. But say it's, by the end of this year, I want to, maybe increase my grade in a specific class. So it's setting a goal that you can achieve and making sure it's realistic inside the classroom.
And I think too, it's measurable, right? You can kind of, okay, let me see, where are my grades now? Like, what am I, what kind of grades am I getting in math, or what kind of grades am I getting in English? And really identifying those areas that need improvement and really focusing our energy on getting better in that area. So great responses. Thank you so much, Coach Mason, for talking about the dreams and goals, and that's core lesson number 16 in your Birdie level yardage book. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we will see you guys next time.